Today, I'm going to share with you guys 3 very useful takeaways that I've learned from this book, The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. Have you ever wondered how some people just seem to light up the room, while others just simply struggle to make a connection? I mean, it's envious to see them charm the crowd effortlessly, right? So, what sorcery might that be? It's charisma. So you might think that it's all about good looks and confidence, something that you're born with, a natural talent that can't be taught or learned, an innate trait. But what if I told you it's not entirely true, but rather a set of skills and traits that can be developed over time? I mean, you can actually learn to be more charismatic, more confident, and more magnetic in your interaction with others. So late last year, I read and studied this book, The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane, to learn more about this charismatic sorcery for myself. Now I would love to share what I've learned with you. Let's unpack the 3 key takeaways. Number 1, the 3 core elements: presence, power, and warmth. These are the secret formula to unlock charisma. Be aware and mindful of your mental state. They will influence your body language, words, and behavior. Presence. This is the single most crucial aspect to make people feel that you are completely here with them. And you know what interesting is? Being distracted is human nature. It's our natural instinct, a survival skill. So you need to learn how to develop this skill to learn how to be in the moment. Because if you're not fully present, the other person will most likely notice. Have a moment-to-moment awareness of what's happening. Pay attention rather than be in your own thoughts. I'm not going to lie, it sounds simple, but it's not easy. It's something that it takes time. You have to practice. I mean, even for me now, I get distracted very easily. My brain works faster than my mouth. Sometimes I speak kind of like slower than what my brain can process, so it doesn't kind of like sync up. I kind of have to like relearn and rewire my thought process. So how to be more present? There are a few ways to do it. Focus on your breathing. You can also scan and focus on the sound in your environment. Focus your attention on the sensation of your toes. That's an interesting one. You can also meditate and do some hypnosis. These practices help you get into the moment. Being charismatic is not about how much time you have, but how fully present you are. And simply being present makes you stand out and memorable. Power. There's a term called power dressing, and that says it all. Step into your role. Power is about how you are being perceived by others based on your appearance, your body language, knowledge, influence, and authority over others. These are cues we look for in someone with power. Warmth, goodwill towards others. How benevolent, altruistic, caring you are towards others. Your willingness to impact the world positively. Genuine value that you want to give. I mean, think about it. Figuring out who is willing to help us and who has the power to do so has been critical to our survival. And that's why our reaction towards warmth and power is wired so deeply inside us. It's like our addiction to sugar and fat. It's about how you want to make people feel. Special, intelligent, fascinating. Non-verbal body language communication matters the most. It's about your internal state, and if it's not in the right place, at some point there will be some micro expression that will show up. The key is to be mindful about your mental state to help you get into the right charismatic body language. So your next question might be, how do I get into the right mental state? There are 2 factors: physical and mental. Let's talk about physical discomfort. Imagine wearing a jacket that is too warm or a pair of trousers that is too tight. And during your time with that person, could be a date, could be a meeting, you're constantly adjusting your jacket because it's too warm, your trousers too tight, so you're not quite sure how to sit. You're constantly readjusting yourself. So the other person, the receiving end, might think that you're not enjoying your time or their company. Another scenario is that imagine if you're going in for a meeting and in the meeting room you're sitting facing the sun. During the meeting, because the sun is so bright, you're constantly like squinting your eyes and moving your head trying to avoid the sun. And on the receiving end, because the person is sitting across from you, they are not facing the sun, they might not know that you are actually in discomfort, and they might just think that, oh, you're rude, or you are like behaving in a funny, strange way. So this kills your charisma as well. So how to remedy this? If it's your outfit, choose something the night before, something that is comfortable, that you feel confident in, and this will help you greatly. For the meeting room scenario, if you enter the room and you can see that you're going to sit facing the sun, explain yourself immediately. Tell them that, I'm going to feel quite uncomfortable sitting here because I'm facing the sun. It's quite glaring. Can I pick another place to sit? and that will help you greatly as well. Remove and limit any discomfort beforehand. If it arises, if it's there, act to elevate it. Do not ignore it. And always explain yourself. And here comes mental discomfort. It's a bit challenging because it's not something that is avoidable. It's something that is inside, like negativity and self-doubt. And this is actually something that I experience the most. And in the book, there is actually a 3-step process that will help you with mental discomfort. First is to destigmatize it. A study found that 99% of our worries never come true. So why focus on that 1%? And if 99% of our worries never come true, means everyone on this planet at some point will have the same discomfort as you. So think of it as a community rather than you feeling this alone, because you're not. Number 2, neutralize negativity. Very similar to destigmatization, because if 99% of your worries are for nothing, so don't assume that they are valid or accurate. Think of it just like walking along the park and saying something unsightly like, ugh, that ugly mural. Ugh, that dog poo. Ugh, that ugly duck. Responsibility transfer. If you're feeling anxious or fearful before an important event, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, think of a god or an entity, something or someone that you believe in. Imagine you just pass all your responsibilities, take them off your shoulder. Physically imagine you lifting them off your shoulder, give it to them and tell them you're in charge now. If you need to leave 2 or 3 times, do it. Think of it, imagine it, pass it piece by piece, pass it to them and say thank you. I'll give it to you. You're in charge now. And trust me, it helps. Objectify your thoughts. A lot of times, especially for me, I make my thoughts very personal. I will always say to myself, I feel ashamed. I'm so ashamed of this. I'm so shy. I'm so nervous. You know, rather than saying me all the time. I am this, I am that. Objectify it. There is shame being felt. There is shyness being felt. There is fear being felt. And why? Objectify it. Visualize your thoughts. To me, this is the most helpful one of all. For example, if you're feeling sad, take a moment to close your eyes. So close your eyes and think about the color of this sadness. Is it green? Is it blue? Is it red? If it's blue, how blue is it? Is it navy blue? Is it royal blue? Is it pastel blue? And think about the texture. Is it watery? Is it rough? Suddenly you see a radio with a dial. Dial the feeling all the way high up, like feel the emotion. You know, turn the volume to the maximum. Really feel the sadness and the intensity of it. Welcome that feeling into your body. Try to speak to the feeling. Try to ask the sadness, what is it protecting you from? Why is it there? It is okay. Welcome it. Have a conversation with it. Say to the sadness, it is okay. You know, it is okay to be here with me because you are protecting me from something. Thank you for protecting me from it. Thank you for giving me this feeling. I appreciate you to make me feel the sadness. But I am a grown-up now. So I appreciate you, I welcome you to be inside me, to protect me. And slowly your feeling will just like fade away. It's scientifically proven if you fully delve into your emotion, you will only feel it for a short amount of period of time. But if you hide it away, if you shove it away, if you try to bury it, it will come back over and over and over again. So it's best to just feel it all and acknowledge it. Say thank you to it, thank it, and move on. Rewrite reality. You know, we often think the worst, like, oh my God, I'm stuck in traffic, I'm going to be late for work, I'm going to be late for this meeting, this is going to happen to me, nothing good is going to happen to me, yada, 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 yada. But instead of thinking that you are going to be late for work, maybe rewrite reality. Ask yourself, what if this delay is good? Maybe you will miss a traffic accident. Maybe if you are there a minute earlier, a tree will fall into your car. And maybe because I'm late, my colleague is able to finish his or her part of her presentation and they are grateful for it. And maybe it's just bad traffic and everyone is late for the meeting and it's just a better time for everyone. So instead of thinking about all the negative circumstances, turn the story around, flip it. Think about all the positive things that might happen for the better. As with everything, it's a spectrum, and you can develop your own unique style based on your own personality and how you want to present yourself and what suits you the best. There are 4 core ones in the book. Number 1, the visionary. Think Steve Jobs. He has the ability to inspire everyone. Right? He's very charismatic. 2, authority. Most politicians are. Think Winston Churchill, Margaret Thatcher. In Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, they are confident, they have status, they have a very commanding leadership. 3, focus. Think Gandhi, think Bill Gates. They have the ability to focus on that one person and make them feel like $1 million. 4th, kindness. Think Mother Teresa, Princess Diana. They project warmth and make others feel welcome and appreciated. Number 2, visualization. Like I said earlier, this is the most helpful tool that I've implemented from this book. It's a mental preparation technique that can help boost your confidence and the ability to project it. I visualize my future self on a daily basis now, before an important event, before a job, before having a conversation with someone even, a day before something, a meeting, 2 or 3 months, my goals. It's so helpful. It's a tool used by speakers, athletes, and even Hollywood actors. So here's a quote from the book. I'm going to just read it out loud. This is the reason why visualization works so well. In fact, some athletes report feeling physically exhausted after intense visualization sessions. Visualization can even physically alter the brain structure. Repeated experiments have shown that simply imagining yourself playing the piano with sufficient repetition leads to a detectable and measurable change in the motor cortex of the brain. The brain is extraordinarily changeable. It constantly rewiring itself. Mental preparation techniques have also been a standard practice in Hollywood. Method acting evolved to help actors with their most difficult task. Getting their body language right, consciously trying to control as much of their body language as possible was both exhausting and doomed to fail. Even with years of training, it's impossible to control the flow completely. If their internal emotions were not what they wanted the outside world to see, sooner or later, something of their underlying thoughts and feeling would show. Method acting took a different approach. Rather than having people trying to control their body language, it went straight to the body language source, the mind. I have previously spoken about this, so you can find the link above to find out more. Number 3, self-compassion. Having goodwill and compassion towards others is often easier because we are an empathetic species by nature, but we are often too hard on ourselves. So how much warmth can we give ourselves? People can be confident and consider themselves as competent, but they might not necessarily like themselves. I mean, it's so unhealthy, right? Come to think of it. I'm the same. I mean, I don't hate myself, but I don't necessarily think that I am so great, and there's like a lot of like self-doubt going in my head. And it's so important to learn how to be kind to yourself. Don't be confused with self-compassion and self-esteem. Self-compassion is a self-directed warmth and acceptance. Self-esteem is how much we approve of and value ourselves. It's a comparison-based evaluation with others against our standards. The higher the level of self-compassion, the lower the level of self-pity. Self-compassion is an essential skill to help radiate warmth and boost self-confidence. Think of self-compassion as standing up for self-harm, that big mama vibe, like how they would speak to their children and encourage them, the amount of love that they will show, or how you will stand up for your friends. So there is a 3-step process too for self-compassion. Realizing that we are experiencing difficulties, responding with kindness and understanding towards ourselves rather than being harshly self-critical. Realizing that what we are going through is experienced by all human beings. Everyone goes through difficult times. Quote from the book: individuals who score high on self-compassion scales demonstrate greater emotional resilience to daily difficulties and fewer negative reaction to difficult situations, such as receiving unflattering feedback. Higher self-compassion predicts a greater sense of personal responsibility for the outcome of events. It helps predict levels of accountability. People who score high on self-compassion also have lower tendency for self-denial. This makes sense. Personal mistakes would generate less self-criticism, so people will be more willing to admit to them. I've also previously spoken about this, so if you'd like to check the video, it'll be in the link above. These are some other things that I found useful from the book. Charismatic listening. Listening is actually more effective than speaking. Listen more than you speak. The power is in the pause. Listen, pause, internalize it, your face react, and respond. Care for the other person genuinely, even if they are wrong. Don't make them feel that they are wrong. Make them feel that they are right. And that is because people really do love hear themselves talk. The more you let them speak, the more they will like you. Conscious mirroring. I tried this with some people and it's quite interesting to see the reaction and how they kind of like open up. But you really have to do this very subtly because you are basically imitating someone else's body language. By mirroring and mimicking someone, you activate this sense of trust and likability to the person that you're engaging with. It doesn't mean if a person is sitting across from you doing things like that, you have to do this as well because it will just come across as weird. But what you can do is that you can mimic their pace, their tone of voice, how the way they sit. You know, if they're resting their arm on the table, maybe you can try that as well, resting. Just have like very little subtle movement that you try to mimic. Okay, I love this. Be the big gorilla. You know, visualize how a gorilla will look like. Chest up, big stance. It occupies a lot of space, right? So this is a practice that will help develop your confident body language. So when you're walking down the street, you have to visualize that you're taking up more space. Just walk straight and have people walk around you rather than you walking around people. And it works. If you're confident enough, if you feel that you're taking up more space, people will actually really walk around you. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You just bump into someone. So I read and studied this book, The Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane, late last year. For people who know me, I've always been quite vocal about not liking to read books. I don't believe in books. I don't read. And now here I am sharing a book review that I have read. Or, well, it's an audiobook, so a book that I've listened to. So the first book that I have bought and I have completed since I was like maybe primary school or secondary school. And it's a self-help one. I have learned a lot. And since then, I have bought about one book a month, which I have been reading and I will be sharing with you guys very soon. I am amazed by the learning opportunities that you can get from a book. I find this book really healing and it has opened me up to more possibilities in life. We are all attracted to people who have flaws because that makes us relatable and likable and unique. So don't worry about being perfect because it can actually help you more by being imperfect. So why did I pick up this book? Not many people actually realize that I am an introverted person. I'm awkward and I'm very shy. At the same time, I'm curious about the world. But I find it challenging navigating through social situations. Especially as a model, I go on set and every set I go to, I work with different people. And sometimes my anxiety level will just skyrocket. Self-doubt takes over me and my social battery drained. So I tried containing these feelings, but it never seemed to really quite help. I got this book mainly just out of curiosity and just kind of find out how charismatic people do it. And it's actually very, very relatable. And I find that there are like so many useful tools in just one book to help me with it. I spoke to someone recently about the book that I've learned. And he politely said to me that if it's a skill that can turn on and off, isn't that unauthentic? Look at Marilyn Monroe and her mental health. So personally, I find that as I'm implementing these tools, as I'm learning them, I find that I'm able to face circumstances in a more positive way while being myself. I am less afraid of being myself and my imperfection. Through this journey, I've actually delved into my childhood to learn more about myself so I can present myself more for who I am, letting my future self guide me. I mean, I'm not Marilyn Monroe, so I cannot speak for her. And of course, I don't have her level of eternal fame. I believe for her to present herself for who she is on television, there is a certain level of authenticity because through my journey, there's a lot of work to do to put yourself out there and to discover yourself and to be comfortable in your own body. It's a lot of work. So you have to be authentic to be able to do that. So maybe there are some level of showmanship that she needs to do, but I think a lot of it is inner work too. It's possibly more of the outside circumstances that exploited her. Who knows? There are many sides to a human being. Some parts of us are being shut off because we feel that we need to conform to the society. We were told not to do this, not to do that as a child, and therefore we become who we are as a person, as an adult. Many of us might feel like we are at a disadvantage because we don't have the level of charm, because we are somehow broken or lacking. So we try to fake it till we make it. We put on a mannerism that is not us. We don't feel real. We don't feel authentic. It's almost like wearing somebody else's clothes that just don't feel quite right. The underlying belief of charisma is that you either have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, you're out of luck. But as a matter of fact, it's actually a skill that can be learned through numerous tools. And if you notice, charismatic people have a way to make people feel special, seen, or heard. Often without even trying. People will always remember how you make them feel. They might not remember your name, but they will always say, remember that person that we met from this place? You know, like, he's such a nice person. Or remember that person from school, he's such a nasty guy. Think about a person. Your housemate, your roommate, your classmate, your teacher, your colleagues. You might not remember their name, but you remember how they made you feel. At the heart of it, it's all about building connection and authenticity. Being kind, building rapport and relationship with others isn't about manipulating or impressing them. It's about genuinely connecting on a deeper level. Finding common grounds, sharing what's vulnerable, being able to listen without judgment. So here you go, the sorcery of being a charismatic person. Give the book a try. The Charismatic Myth by Olivia Fox Cabane. Link below. I think it's a good entry book that helps you get started on a self-help journey. It will intrigue your curiosity to learn more. At least for me, that's what I did. But remember, it's not something that is overnight. You need to practice and implement the tools on a daily basis. And when I mean daily, I mean daily. If it's not daily, like if you can skip a day or two, that's fine, because we are all humans, right? I did that too. I do that. So, but if you do it regularly, it becomes part of you and it will just become natural. At the end of it, there won't be an end, because it would be a journey. Thank you for watching, and if you find this video interesting and want to cultivate charisma and learn more about it, maybe you can check out some of my other videos that is like around the screen. Let me know in the comments what's your take on charisma. If you have any other tools or skills that you would like to share, feel free to reach out. I would love to read them. And don't forget to click on the subscribe button too. Remember to embrace yourself, and you are beautiful regardless. Liberate doubt.